But we need to stop this, okay? Like, we're not our marks. Yes, do we need to do better? Yes, we do. Do we need more self-discipline? Yes, we do. But we are not our marks. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome back to Growing With Me, where real is our norm and growth is our goal. My name is Marangi Faith and I'm going to be your host for this channel. So if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. And if you're new here, I hope you enjoy your stay. Okay, so guys, let's get started with this video. So as you guys can tell by the title, today we're going to be talking about the unfamiliar familiarity of failure. And there's a series of events that inspired this video, but I felt like a lot of people could relate. And since this is a channel for all my lessons and mishaps and failures, y'all are gonna get all of it, right? Well, most of it. But anywho, to give you guys some context, I'm a third year university student at the University of Pretoria. I'm studying actuarial science, and it's been a ride. And I've seen a lot of failures in these past 3 years. I think I've seen more failures in the past 3 years than I have in like my 18 years before university, like combined. You know, I've never faced so many disappointments to an extent where I've actually started expecting to fail in a lot of things that I do. And so I think there were 3 occurrences where my friends made certain observations and I was like, oh, yeah, that's actually very true. That's actually very true. And it made me realize that you know when they're like the mighty have fallen? But it's like I've fallen so hard that I've just kind of grown complacent in falling, or like I'm just kind of there, like, okay, if I fail the module, I'm not gonna be surprised type of thing. Okay, maybe not a module, a test. If I fail a test, I'm not gonna be surprised. But yeah, so that's some background. University has been quite the journey. Like, it's been such a big challenge. I don't think I've ever been challenged to the extent which I have been in the past 3 years. And you know, for those of you that don't know what actuarial sciences is, it's it's a statistics major and financial mathematics. That's basically what it is. But you know, I think like most university courses, it's been a fight. Especially as a person who comes from high school, like only getting distinctions, like you only get 90s and you only get 80s, to having to come to university and fight for your life for a pass. It's been very humbling, guys. And so I hopped on a call with one of my brothers the other day, and he studied the same thing I did, but he graduated and he's like that. And he was like, and I was telling him about how much I'm struggling, and he was like, you know, Marangi, at least on an academic capacity, we know what it is to be human. Because you come from high school and all you know is like 90s and 80s, and you get to uni and it's like, wow, this is difficult. Right? And so when he said that, I was like, actually, yeah, I can relate more now. And so am I grateful for failures? To an extent. Does it suck? Absolutely. But anywho, to tell you guys more about what I've been going through and what actually inspired this video, I went over to my friend's place, and she's done and she graduated twice, and yo guys, wow. But anywho, she really is an inspiration to my life. But I went over to her place, and she knew me in my first year and she was in her final year. And I think she overheard a conversation I was having with one of my uni friends. And she's very like observant, so extremely observant. And she's more honest than she is observant. So she will say certain things, and when she says certain things, I know they're true because she doesn't just say things. So before I had to leave, she was like, what happened to you? And I was like, what do you mean what happened to me? And she was like, the way you talk about like your academics, it just sounds like everyone else. And I was like, Okay, I know what you mean. Because again, she knew me in my first year, so I think she knew the dedication I came into university with. And now I'm in my final year, God willing. But then she sees the difference. It's like, okay, first year Morangi didn't know well, yeah, I didn't know failure. And then third year Morangi has experienced it so much that it's like it's almost expected. And she was like, you just sound like everyone else, and you were very committed to your studies. And I was like, yeah, I was. A lot happened, in the time that you were gone. And not that it's an excuse, but a lot did happen. I have failed countless times. My marks looked terribly. I remember once going into an exam with a semester mark of 44, having to pull off a miracle in the exam to even get a pass. And the split was like 60% semester mark, 40% exams. It was like, yeah, you can't even just get 56. And mind you, at that point, I had failed every single semester test dismally, not like 45, like 32%, like 26%. Like, I had seen so much failure that I kind of became complacent with my ambitions, and I was just really content with getting the bare minimum. And like, yes, university is hard, but I feel like also the environment where everyone is also just content with getting the bare minimum, I kind of grew complacent with getting the bare minimum and being alright with it. And so when she made that observation, I was like, yeah, I do sound like everyone else, but that's maybe because my mind has conformed to the bare minimum standard. And yeah, I think I just stopped wanting more for myself also, academically speaking. So when she made that observation, I went home and I really thought about it, and I was like, okay, yeah, she's very right for that. And then incident number 2. Fast forward to a few days later, or was it a few days before? I don't really remember how the timeline of the events, but I had to apply for this thing, and so it required like a referral letter or a reference letter, whatever people call it. And so I asked my headmaster from high school, because we had like a pretty good relationship. And so he writes it to me and he emails it to me, and I read it and I'm like, damn, I'm not this girl anymore. It even felt fraudulent to submit that, because I'm like, I can't relate to the girl he's speaking about, because I don't feel like I'm the same person. And it wasn't even a case of the imposter syndrome. It was just like, I have failed so much ever since like the girl he knew was like the Dutch learner, the first head girl of color in a predominantly white school. It was like he has seen me achieve all these great things. And then I went to varsity, and it was like a severe case of the mighty have fallen. Like, yeah, it didn't feel like the same. I didn't feel like the same girl who was talking about in the letter, and I was like, yeah, I didn't even apply for that thing. I was like, this is dishonest. And so, that incident with my friend and the situation with the application and the reference letter from my headmaster, it really got me thinking, like, how did we even get here? And it wasn't even like that specific opportunity that I had to apply for, but there's just been certain things that I've kept myself from doing, because I'm just like, no, I always fail. And by always, I mean academically. But I've attached so much of my identity and my confidence to my academics that if that fails, and I hate to say this, because I thought I'd been through that phase in high school where detached to me from my marks, but that incident made me realize that I clearly hadn't, at least not to the extent that I wish I would have hoped to by this point. But yeah, like, there were certain opportunities that I would not apply for or not put myself in a position to get, because I'm like, no, I don't think I'm good enough. Also, I think I might fail. Also, I think I might disappoint people. That kind of was, it shed some light on how much I actually need to work on. Because, as a man thinketh, so is he. And if I think that anything I try, I'm just gonna fail, then my mind will believe that I'm a failure, even if I'm not, because I'm not what I can achieve. I'm not my marks, I'm not my academics. But that's how I thought of things. This is like now maybe a month back. But yeah, also bumping into someone from my past, and I don't know what we were talking about. I don't know what we were talking. Oh, yeah, something about school. But at the end of the conversation, they said, "Yeah, but you're a star, so you'll be fine." Or he said, "You're excellent, so you'll be fine." And I was like, "Yeah, I was excellent." I didn't say this obviously, but in my mind, I was like, "Yeah, I was excellent when you knew me, but I kind of am not anymore." And I just, when he said that, I just felt like, I wouldn't say a deceiver, but I was like, the version you have in your mind of me, I don't think that's true no more. So yeah, and then fast forward to a month later when exams were starting. And now guys, we're going to war. Because mind you, all semester, monks have not been cute. Like, it's been a war, And so there was this module called abstract algebra that I went into with a 49. Again, all math modules have like a 60-40 split, I've realized. So my mark was 49 going into the exam, and then I had to get like I don't know, 54 in the exam to pass. All I needed was a 54, y'all. I didn't get it. I failed the exam disbelief. And so because I couldn't take the sub, because in order to take the sub, you need to have at least 50% with the exam or your semester mark. And so I saw my script in class, and then I went to put it down. And mind you, my algebra professor is the cutest man in the world. Like, lecturers like that deserve the world. Oh my days. Like, he's such a father. I adore him. But anyhow, I go to put my script down, and he comes to me, and I'm leaving the class now. So he catches me before I leave, because I'm like, I failed the module. What more is there to do? Because I can't even get into the supplementary exam. Like, it was just like, no, Merengue is over. And so he comes to me as I'm leaving the class, and he was like, what happened? And when he says that, the minute I want to start speaking, there's just tears streaming down my face. And he was like, come see me after the whole thing. I was like, okay, I'll come see you. And then I went to see him, and his prof is, wow, the father I never knew I needed. But anywho, I go to see him after everyone's done perusing and whatever. And we have like a really like tough conversation. None that I'll bother you guys with. But basically what he got from the conversation is how attached my identity and self-esteem was to my marks. And so he was, and I'm sharing this because I don't know who else can relate, but we need to stop this, okay? Like, we're not our marks. Yes, do we need to do better? Yes, we do. Do we need more self-discipline? Yes, we do. But we are not our marks. But anywho, what he said to me was, and this really stuck with me, and this is why I'm sharing it, was that what you do is not who you are. So he was like, when you call me professor, you're calling my profession. You're not calling me. You're not calling Rodriguez. You're calling what I do. I've learned to separate what I do from who I am. And I think that's something that you haven't learned to do. And I was like, yeah, prof, you might be onto something there. You might be onto something. And so after just saying that to me and consoling me, because I might probably need to take abstract algebra again, y'all, I'm smiling now, but when I got that, when I learned that I failed the module for real time, like, I'd failed tests, but like failing module, that was new. So when that happened, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. Like, math was supposed to be my niche, like it was supposed to be my forte, and I failed it. And it just felt like I failed at life. I know I'm making it deep, but in the moment, it felt like I failed at life. So I called my parents. They were actually extremely understanding. I'm so thankful for them. But also I came back and I kind of sat with myself, because I think what hurt more was feeling like, one, I let myself down, And I don't know, some of you might wonder what's the big deal about failing module. I possibly might not graduate. That's the big deal about failing module. And so I think the biggest disappointment was feeling like I let myself down, I let my parents down. But also I let down the people that look up to me, because I have like a decent number of first years who really look up to me, and they're like, they're so precious. They're so precious, but they really look up to me, and feeling like, oh wow, the idea that they had of me, I've let them down. And so we had home cell that same week, and I felt really compelled to share with them my failures, because I'm like, you know, y'all have seen me win, y'all see me as this picture perfect. I don't know what's in their mind, but yeah, they really, really do adore me. But I was like, you know, y'all have seen like the put together kind of killing the game version of me, but you should know that I'm not incapable of failing. And I told them everything that went down. And guys, when I tell you, they had like the kindest words of encouragement to offer me, and I was just like, y'all have so much wisdom. You know. But yeah, I think after sharing it with them, the people that I felt most accountable to, I don't know, it felt like the burden was removed off my shoulder. And that's also, I don't know, I think this story time, lesson time kind of took a, but I hope you guys get the gist of what I'm trying to get through, is that just because you fail often, or you have failed quite a few times, doesn't make you as a person a failure. And just because you have failed that many times doesn't mean that you have to stay in that slump of not dreaming big, or not thinking that you're capable of achieving anything good. And this is actually something I had to remind myself, because one of my friends, she was like, I think you've forgotten. Guys, if there's anything you take from this video, is that get yourself friends that can see your potential, and they can see a version of yourself that you can't see when you're in a certain season. So one of my friends said to me right before exam, she was like, I think you've forgotten how capable you actually are. And then another friend of mine said the same exact thing. And I know because I wrote it. I wrote it down. They were like, you are capable and stand and divine. Shout out to y'all. I love you guys so much. But anywho, yeah, the fact that they both said that, and then the one confirmed the other, it felt like, okay, God was reaffirming me. And I think I eventually got out of it. Do I believe in my own potential? Right now, I do. But it took one, a lot of failing, and two, several wake-up calls to get to the point where I am now. Hence, I'm smiling. Beforehand, I was crying. Y'all, it wasn't cute. That wasn't cute at all. Yikes. But I have a lot more joy now. I have a lot more joy, and I think I'm not in the same place anymore. I'm completely detaching my self-worth and esteem from what I'm able to achieve. And I think more just focusing on like effort rather than outcome, because I don't think you can control the outcome of a lot of things, but you can definitely control the effort that you put in. And granted, I think if I'd worked a little bit harder in some things, I think it could have gone better. But I think also just thinking that I'm gonna fail anyways was really demotivating to try harder. So next semester we're killing it. In Jesus' name, hallelujah. Yeah. And then also, for any other kids that are going to come to varsity, don't subscribe to the bare minimum status quo. Like, you don't need to be the bare minimum. And also learn to separate who you are from the marks you get, okay? Because you'll be very miserable if you can't learn to distinguish between the two. You do school, you are not school. And you've gotten this far, you're gonna make it through. Okay, even if it takes an extra year, which it might possibly take for me. But y'all, that is all I have to say. I don't know if I've said everything I wanted to say in this video, but like, I don't know, I think I got some things out. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and y'all, I will see you next time. I will be signing up and out.